All right. Uh, I'm just doing this video for the record. This is basically going to capture the my current experiences with the textual and graphical manipulators in OpenRoads Survey 2023 R1. Uh, just a background, the last time that I experienced the manipulators actually working as expected, or as far as I'm concerned, as designed, was 2020 R1, possibly R2. I didn't use R2, but I noticed a problem cropped up in 2020 R3, and 2021 was, I'll say, severely broken, and they've been erratic ever since. And now I'm seeing something fairly new in 2023, although I looked at 2022 and noticed a similar thing, but I'm doing this on 2023 since that's the current release, again, R1. Now, this doesn't have any effect from what I've seen on the graphical manipulators or textual manipulators of geometry or anywhere else in the software. It seems to be really isolated to the survey manipulators. Okay, so basically what's happening is the display of them is, I'll say, very inconsistent or erratic. What I did is I'm in a file right now. This is a file that was created from the Bentley Training Examples Imperial Workspace. And I have a little over a dozen field books in here and field data from several different sources. Now, I originally tested this in all of the different workspaces in about probably four or five different workspaces from others, my own and for others, and also with their data. So I have data from other sources. And I had done it individually in each of their seed files in their workspaces, but I was trying to rule out problems with possible different seed files and different settings. So ultimately, my testing led me to do this full battery of testing in a single DGN file in the Bentley Imperial workspace and in a single DGN file in my own Zen workspace. And I've got the same results. In fact, I got the same results all throughout all workspaces, but again, I decided to create all the field books in one DGN file, so all the settings were identical. And again, I checked settings, everything I can, from the design file settings to every setting I could think of to make sure that there was consistency that was causing this problem. So I have basically files from Bentley. I have files from Connecticut DOT. These are all field files from Metropolitan Water District, Bonneville Power, my own that I created, Riverside County Transportation, a number of places, and all types of files, RW5s, SDRs, CSVs, the PNEZ code files, field books, InRoads field books. I've tested all different types of files, and they all have similar kind of inconsistencies. So let me kind of go through some of this. This is again, in a Bentley seed file in the Imperial workspace. And I have, let me just show you what it should look like. So this is a Bentley RW5 file that I found in their sample data. And if we look at this and show you what should be expected, when you select something, you have the graphical manipulators, the rectangle for the start, and the triangles for the PCs, PTs, and the circles for either the no coding, and then you have the graphical manipulators and then the textual manipulators for the link codes. So those are showing up fine. And I also have another file, so it's not just this particular Bentley file. I have another file from Bonneville Power, and if we look at this file, the codes clearly, the field codes that were used in these field files don't all match the Bentley field codes, but it doesn't matter. You get the same reactions. So if we look at this field data, select it, again, it shows up as expected. The graphical manipulators and the textual manipulators, basically at varying zoom. I mean, the way that they normally would work, you could zoom in as close as you want, so that if there was a pipe farm or whatever, you could get in there, and it's view independent text, view independent symbols. All this is set in the user preferences in the backstage. So this is the way it should work. No matter, zoom in, zoom out, those are maintained there. Select it, deselect it, they turn on and off. So the only files that I actually found consistently work is one in the Bentley workspace and one that I got from a Bonneville Power. What the variants that I have now, that I just kind of go through this just for the record, is this is a file that I use in my training class. This is just one day. This is from Connecticut Department of Transportation. And if I go in here, turn off the observations. So again, this is just a partial file. This survey actually has a month's worth of data, but in this case, what's happening, and these blue ticks are just feature symbologies for the points, and then of course there's feature symbology for the lines leading to an element template. An element template just in this workspace just puts a tick wherever there's a shot. It's not a graphical manipulator. It's just a tick mark. So if I select this, what you'll see is it highlights, and there are no graphical manipulators. There are no textual manipulators. No matter how much I zoom in or zoom out, there is nothing showing. No textual manipulators, no graphical manipulators. Let's go to another file here. This is another file that I created as a sample test case to show all the codes in a configuration that I was working on. So if we go in here and select something here, you'll see in this case it shows the graphical manipulators, but there are no textual manipulators. Again, zooming in, zooming out, it's like really there's nothing here. This is just showing the graphical manipulators. We look at another one here. Let's look at this one. So here is another day, and this kind of shows you the inconsistency, because this is a part of just a few additional files from my sample files from Connecticut. These are also from Connecticut, but I brought in several of them, the Traverse and a few other days. So if I go in here and look at this, I get the textual manipulators, but there are no graphical manipulators. Again, I have no idea. I mean, I can't make heads or tails of this. I'm just kind of reporting on what I'm finding. So in this instance, with this combination of files, I'm getting the textual manipulators. They are functional. In 2021, they showed up, but they weren't functional. You had to zoom at an extreme zoom level before they actually became functional. In this case, they are functional. I could select this, and shows that it's a linking code. But again, there's no graphical manipulators for me to select either the points or the line work from just the graphical perspective, like geometry graphical manipulators can, move and rotate lines. So basically, I have a whole collection of files here that basically show. This is one from Metropolitan Water District, and again this one, and I have these names. If anybody was interested in this, I could send you these files, all the input source files. If you look under the field book, you'll see the data files. This one in particular was a field book that was brought in from something they did in InRoads. But this one, the name of this one is MWD Test 2 GMs, Graphical Manipulators. So this one, if I pick, I get the graphical manipulators, but no textual manipulators. So there's, again, just an extreme inconsistency of some input files. And I have to conclude that it's not the seed files, it's not the workspace, because I'm bringing these all into the exact same DGN file, has all the exact same settings, and I'm getting variations in terms of what actually displays. Now, the control for the manipulators, and let me basically go to a file that works here. Go to this this Bentley file. The manipulators, they are controlled by the element selection tool, the disable handles. So when the handles are disabled, then the manipulators, both graphical and textual, turn off. Now this is true for all of OpenRoads. So it's not just a survey function here, but the manipulators, this is basically the on-off switch if you want to view them. If you're not seeing them, you want to verify that this is actually turned on or off. So when it's off, it doesn't have the board around it. When it's on, you'll see that background there. So when the disable handles button is on, they are disabled, and you don't see the manipulators. When it's disabled, when that's off, then you see the manipulators. So this, you know, I thought maybe this was broken. I was working with Bentley support, and you know, he suggested I turn this on and off a bit, and it was logical. Maybe it was stuck on, stuck off. But the issue is this. This turns off both the textual and graphical manipulators, not just one. And in some cases, I'm only seeing one or the other. One other thing that I've just recently found, which again just adds more inconsistency, is under the view attributes, and I've been just going round and round with trying to solve this. There's a setting here to clip back, and clip back does have an impact on these manipulators. I don't understand the logic behind it. Someone at Bentley maybe understands, but I sure don't. So I noticed that the clip back was turned on here. So when the clip back is turned on, if there's a survey where the textual manipulators are, this really only applies to the textual manipulators. So the clip back does have an effect on the textual manipulators. So where the textual manipulators naturally want to turn on, when this clip back is also on, you can zoom in as close as you possibly can, as far away as you possibly can, and the textual manipulators remain on. But if you turn on the clip back and you zoom in, at some zoom level, they will turn off. And you could zoom out. They tend to stay on any zooming out, but zooming in at a certain zoom level in, they will turn off only if the clip back is actually turned on. So this is actually somehow, you know, disabling that relative to zooming. So taking this one step further, if I go to one of my files where I'm only seeing the graphical manipulators and not the textual manipulators, what you'll find here is I select it, I only see the graphical ones. I zoom in, zoom out, I see no textual manipulators. But if I turn this clip back off, now if I zoom out, they appear. So it's almost the reverse of what happens if the textual manipulators naturally want to show. The clip back turns the textual manipulators off when you zoom in. If the textual manipulators don't show and you turn this off, then they will appear when you zoom out. So there's something going on there relative to the clipping. The clip back in particular, I tried these others, didn't seem to have any effect, but I didn't do some extensive, you know, testing on that. So there is something relative to this clip back that is causing that. Let's see if there's anything else. Now, what I believed is that the textual manipulators were not actually on here. Clearly, you can't see them. I have them set to green and this color and a certain text size and all that in the backstage. And you know, for those of you that don't know this, it's under the user settings, and it's the preferences, and it's the view options, civil. And so this is where the manipulator settings are. So the manipulator, you could get that ball or the whatever to be larger and whatever color. And then there's also the survey locator is also here. So these are the things that control the display of that. Again, I'm in the same file. I'm using the same user preferences for all of these surveys. So I'm not going in and out of different workspaces and possibly using a different user set of preferences. I'm in the same drawing using the same user preferences and still having this oddity here. Okay, so I think probably the last thing that I'm going to say about this is what I have recently found out is the textual manipulator actually is here. It actually is accessible. And I had stumbled on this by just literally leaving my mouse in a certain location, and then all of a sudden the link code option appeared. And the link code option appears just like if you hover over the graphical manipulator, the move will appear. And the move only appears when that graphical manipulator is there. Otherwise, an attribute information will appear. So the graphical information is for being able to grab that manipulator and then manipulate and move it either graphically and in the textual manipulator, that's really identifying some mathematical aspect of it. In the survey side, it's the code of the link code. So again, this link code actually is here, but for some reason it's just not visible, because at that stage you can click and it actually does appear and you can access it. It's just you can't see it there. So this was somewhat revealing. I just recently found this out, which kind of prompted me to make this video and kind of encapsulate all of this together. So you can actually pick this and change this, and it works. I just for some reason don't know why it's actually not visible, but by hovering and pausing and waiting for that tool tip to appear where you think that thing should be, and once you get that tip, say there's none, and it takes off the start code. So you can edit these. Undo that. If you hunt around and stumble onto the link code. Now the graphical manipulators, those don't appear to be able to be selected. You can't find those. They're actually hovering over a point, and when you hover over a point, you tend to just get the attributes and not the move, because when you have a graphical manipulator, you should get the move option there. So that's how you know you've got the graphical manipulator. Okay, so I believe that is all I have, but I do have all these DGN file with all of these field books in it, in my workspace and in the Bentley Imperial workspace. I have all the source data, and of course I have all these completed files. If anyone has an interest in researching this further, hopefully Bentley will come up with a solution, because this makes the survey software quite unusable in a way that you can't really count on the graphical or textual manipulators, which in 2020 I wrote all of my material around it. So it's a valuable asset from the survey perspective, when you're doing editing. But if they don't work or they're very inconsistent, obviously that's a problem. Okay, so that's all I have, and hopefully this gets resolved, and I'll be working on workarounds. But for right now, I see what I see.